In this video, I'm going to talk about upstream keys and downstream keys, features which are available in many switches, amongst which the Atem Mini series switches of Blackmagic design. So let's enter the wonderful world of keys. My name is Peter Riemslagbaas and this is Training on the Job. When talking about keys, I mean upstream keys and downstream keys in live stream environments. Although the basics are not that complicated, the terminology doesn't ring a bell, does it? So let's see if we can find a mnemonic for what upstream keys and downstream keys do mean actually. Let's talk about the stacking order. The basics of every switcher, of course, are the inputs. At least two, otherwise you wouldn't need a switcher, up to as many as needed for the show. In my case, working with the Atem Mini Extreme, there are 8 inputs. Evidently, every input can be set in the preview window, ready to go in the next transition on air. Then, depending on the device you have, there are 1 to multiple upstream keys. In case of the Atem Mini Extreme, you'll have 8 inputs available and 4 upstream keys. The higher the number, the higher in ranking for what is getting in the program feed out first. Here we have the downstream key 1, and on top of that, downstream key 2. So the same as with upstream keys, downstream key 2 is on top of the layers below. As mentioned before, the downstream keys cannot be programmed for preview, which means you'll need to be sure what your audience is going to see before you push it on air. In most cases, the logo is assigned to downstream key 2 because that's always on air. Well, most of the time. So it's good to know that inputs are always on the first floor, then the upstream keys, then the downstream keys. And remember, down is on top. You put it on top of everything below. Well, is that a donkey bridge or is it not? Let's take a look at the switchboard. Not the actually hardware switchboard, but the software switchboard, the Atem software control app. On the left-hand side is everything we can set in preview. These are the regular inputs. And here we have some extra inputs for the next transition. Those are all upstream keys. Then there's the switcher handle, the transition handle I should say, and here on the right hand side, well, that's beyond the transition handle, so they cannot be set in preview mode and only set on air. Let's switch to the output so we can see what actually is going on in the preview window. We disable all the buttons and you can see now I'm here. Key 1, we set it in preview. And what I'm showing now is the preview window. Key 2, the size is 0, but we're gonna enlarge that to, let's say, 20%. And now when we enable key 2, 20%, we can see it in the upper right corner. I'll make it completely visible, like that. Now we have key 3, and key 3 is covering everything below. Now let's take a look at what happens if we push the on-air buttons while in preview mode. On air, it goes off air from the preview window to the program window. And this is a picture-in-picture, obviously. We can set key 2 also on air, It disappears from the preview window and it appears in the program window. When we now cut back, you can see that everything we had in the program, including the new on-air set key 1 and key 2, just a few seconds ago, is now switching back to the preview window. When we cut this back to the program output, as long as the yellow buttons are enabled for the keys, they're part of the next transition, disappear from the preview and come back in the program window. Now let's see what happens if we disable the preview from the upstream keys. When we look at them now, we see them appearing while on air in both the preview as well as the program window. Which means if we cut back to what's in preview, let's do that here, the keys are not changed. They are still in preview mode and as well in the program window. So if you just want to have your keys being part, if you just want your keys being part of the next transition, like so, then they cut back and forth between the preview and the program window. Okay, that's for the upstream keys. Now let's take a look at the downstream keys. Downstream key 1 is set to HyperDeck. Let's set that to Media Player 1. And we haven't masked it yet, but let's do so and see. Well, we cannot actually see now what's going to happen. That's very tricky. So we should do this, as I mentioned before, in the pre-process, in the pre-production of your live show. Because what I'm now setting on air probably doesn't make any sense because it's covering everything what's down below. We can't see the key 1, we can't see key 2, we can't see the inputs. I only can see the downstream key, which is fully opaque. Now let's take a look at the downstream key 2. I take it off air, I set it on air, it's on top. And why do I use downstream key 2 for my label, for my logo? That's obvious. It should be on air all the time. If you have only one downstream key, like in the, I think it's the Atem Mini and the Atem Mini Pro have one downstream key. So you can assign your logo to downstream key 1. I did it to downstream key 2, so this one is available for other purposes. I hope you liked this video. If so, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'm sure you're gonna wanna see the next videos. I'm going to talk about macros and stingers and how to make stingers and lots more. There's so much to tell. And it's all from my experience, and I'm excited about using all those gear for beautiful live streams and productions. And I hope to see you the next time. For now, bye.